Welcome back to the channel. I am Captain Power. In this episode, we are actually going to unpack some really powerful information about how to avoid being ghosted in job interviews and how to map this unpredictable, unstable, and very scary job market. So buckle up as we unpack all of these different chronicles as far as trials and tribulations as these job seekers encounter different pitfalls in today's job market.
So there is something that is really interesting happening in the job market. And I think a lot of people who are at not even super senior levels, but, at least 8 to 10 years under your belt. This has happened to me numerous times. A lot of people I've talked to, this has happened to them as well, which is that because I've now had several roles where I've gotten to the final stage and have not gotten the job. I've gone through that process now. I think now I'm at like 7, where I have gone through multiple rounds of interviews, assessments, whatever it might be, and gotten to the final round and didn't get it. The vast majority is because the role just ceased to exist.
We wanted to actually highlight the top 10 ways to avoid these types of interviews and scenarios simply because we wanted to improve confidence preservation of job seekers going through. It's hard enough that a lot of these jobs are actually data aggregates. It's excruciating that a lot of these positions are now simply playing a lot
Even
of
to
games
the
with job
point
seekers
of,
and
they might say at the end, like, we went with another candidate, and they don't go with anybody. Because that's pretty easy to see. All you have to do is follow these companies on LinkedIn and see that, like, no one filled that role. There's no one working there with that title, with that role now. Or a lot of them have explicitly said, yeah, we got to the end here and decided to wait on this role. We decided not to fill it. But then this other thing has happened, which is that you go really far down the path and you get to the end, and then they do a hard pivot to like a totally different experience set.
Yeah, definitely. With our top 10 ways to avoid these types of job interview scenarios, you definitely want to read job descriptions critically for clarity. We're going to highlight the top 10 ways, so definitely take notes. Clarity for, and also research the company and role before applying. This is very, very important. Check the official website, as she mentioned, LinkedIn presence and employee reviews.
Right. So, like,
as well as clarify role
here's a
expectations.
leadership level brand role that requires at least 10 years of brand experience. But then we also decided that we want someone who has experience in this other field that has nothing to do with brand, but has to do with our industry. Things that would be two distinct career paths, but because the industry that you're in overlaps those, you want someone that has both.
Yeah, focus applications on roles that are aligned with your general skills and career goals for sure. Build relationships with recruiters and hiring managers through networking. Very important, so that it reduces burnout and what's called shotgunning. And also build relationships with recruiters and hiring managers through networking. This is going to be very, very critical. Ask for clear written job scope or realistic job preview whenever possible, which helps to set mutual expectations and prevent surprises later on in the process. These are all different strategies that you can use to avoid what's called the unicorn effect when it comes to job interviewing and trying to prevent, what, like we said, confidence preservation.
And this is when we talk about how it is eroding trust and candidates don't care anymore. Because what do you mean the job just goes away 5 interview rounds in, 3 months in? It just goes away. There's no more budget. There's no more room. There's no more this. And so many people I've talked to have gone through this. And it's baffling to me. And the thing is that, you know, it gives you data to understand the company. And quite frankly, for me, companies that are that disorganized are not companies I want to be a part of. Because if they're that disorganized at the introduction to them, imagine what it's like to work for them. But it's so many. It's so many. And I'm just like, all this stuff is really, really connected. Bad fucking leadership.
Yeah, to avoid a lot of these scenarios, and shout out to this creator. I made sure to put a link in the description. Very, very intelligent. Seems very experienced in her niche. If a recruiter or employer happens to see this, I would like to think a lot of times that these reviews and commentaries are a way to profile and use this platform to help job seekers, find feelers out there for opportunities. So I hope that you'll definitely take up this opportunity. But use trusted job boards and verify recruiter contact information. Set personal application criteria and cutoff thresholds. These are all different steps that you can use to avoid the unicorn effect when it comes to job interviewing.
Bad fucking
I have experienced it where it seems like
I think a lot of it comes from,
no opportunities there.
We have existed in this world with this idea of it's not what you know, it's who you know, which means that like nepotism and favoritism is where people are getting to the places they're getting to, not their skills. And then people get to the very top of their company or their field or their department, and they don't know what the fuck they're doing. And those are the people making the decisions. And so then that trickles down into, we want to hire for this. Great. We're going to spend 4 months going through candidates, doing multiple rounds of interviews. Oh, maybe that's not what we want to do. I'm freaked out. Let's just not do this now and we'll do it later. Like, what are you talking about? There's such a lack of leadership across the board at these companies, and it's trickling down to the candidate experience, so that even these jobs that are hiring, it's virtually impossible to get hired, not because you're not experienced, not because you're not a great fit, because, like, not to brag, every single time they've been like, you're amazing, we would love to work with you, we just realized, like, this role, we don't know what to do with it. It's gotten me, I've talked about this a little bit, is that, like, I don't really apply to stuff anymore. I have been moving more into things that are contract, fractional, freelance, because this process is so broken. It's not just about getting your resume in front of a recruiter, which is a huge broken part of the system. It's about the fact that none of you know how to just hire and make a decision, especially with anything that is above entry level. What is happening in these companies? How are you managing to stay afloat and alive when you can't make a decision as simple as, we need this role, let's interview and hire someone? What do you mean months into it, rounds and rounds into it, all of a sudden the parameters are changing? You want unicorns, and unicorns don't exist. They're mythical creatures. Just hire a fucking person. Let them show up. Let them do the work for you. Your company is stagnant. You're ruining your employer brand and your reputation because you're so frozen in indecision. I don't know. It's so many people I know are going through the same thing. So many people I know are seeing that like these roles just aren't getting filled at all. And they're just wasting dollars and time and resources.
Yeah, so just to conclude with this creator, and we're unpacking two more, there's just so much to go. So please, definitely, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. We're going to be doing these very regularly, and I'm hoping that it will create a chronicle for job seekers out there to try and navigate in this very, very scary year, a job market that's seeing a lot of AI restructuring. Amazon just announced layoffs, thousands and thousands of roles across various branches and departments. So these are all new job seekers who are going to be going into the job market. But definitely document and review your job search process weekly. Treat interviews as a two-way evaluation, asking questions about growth, culture, and employer expectations to avoid the unicorn effect, and avoid being ghosted. There are just so many companies out there that are just very flippant, and you are investing so much of your energy and it chips away at your self-confidence. So I'm hoping that this video, this chronicle, will be able to help you with what's called self-confidence preservation as you try to map your way through a very perilous job market right now. So these are the top 10 that I wanted to focus on as we unpacked this wonderful creator's contribution. And like I said, I always
to all my job seekers out there that have been applying left and right
creators
to all these positions that are hiring like crazy, but then nobody calls you back. I want you guys to pay attention. I'm going to give you guys some pointers as a recruiter. I've been a recruiter for about 20 years now. Now, I know the market sucks. Everybody's lazy. Nobody's calling nobody. You know, you're putting in tons of applications, nobody calling you back. We can't control that, right? But one thing you can do to help increase your odds, I'm going to give you guys a couple of different pointers, but one thing for sure is make sure your resume is up to date. As recruiters, we get a headache when we're looking at a resume and everything is all over the place and everything is just, just mushed up together. It's hard to dissect certain things and break down dates of where you were at and, how long you were there. Make sure everything's up to date. Okay. Now, me, myself, I will dissect the resume because I like to give people the benefit of the doubt. And I know the market right now is scary. So I try to find people jobs. I take pride in that. So even if your resume sucks, I'm going to go through it and dissect it and give you the benefit of the doubt. And even if I don't think you're qualified, I'll call you and see if I have something for you. Okay. That's just me. Most recruiters aren't going to do that because they suck and they're lazy. Right. Second thing, when you finally get on the phone with somebody, whether it's a pre-screen or an interview, don't talk about yourself way too much. That's a major red flag and a put off for us as recruiters. Now, it's good to, explain your background, be confident in it and your experience and what you've done and what you've accomplished. Keep it short and sweet and confident, but never babble on about how this facility loved you so much and this organization loved you so much and they were going to hire you, but they didn't have the budget for it. And they told me, oh, come back whenever. But like you're making up all these things and you're saying all these things about yourself. And it's just a major red flag and a put off, So keep it short and sweet, keep it confident, but never babble on about yourself too much. Okay. Those are two things you can do. Third thing I would recommend is send follow-up emails. If you apply and you don't hear back, and especially if you've applied multiple times and you haven't heard back, but you're more than qualified, make sure you're qualified when you're applying to these recs. A lot of people do apply, wishful thinking, saying, maybe I'll get the job anyway. A lot of places aren't doing that right now. They're going to hire you if you have experience only, okay? So make sure you meet that. But if you meet the criteria, you've applied several times and you haven't heard back, not even a follow-up email, find out who the leader of that talent acquisition team is, or find out, HR's number or whatever, and send an email, a follow-up email and say, hey, my name is such and such. I've applied to these recs several times within your organization. I meet all the criteria, but I have not heard back one time. Usually when you do that, they'll funnel that down the pipeline. Somebody will probably get in trouble. They'll light a fire under somebody's ass, and you will get a phone call at least, and you'll have a contact person. So these are just 3 pointers I can give you to help increase your odds of getting a call back. Now, like I said, we can't completely control these lazy recruiters nowadays because a lot of people are fucking lazy and they don't want to do their jobs. So yeah, but that's where we're at in this day and age. So increase your odds, make sure your resume looks good, never talk about yourself way too much, and send follow-up emails if you're not getting responses, okay? Follow for more tips if you guys want information, if you guys want help with anything. I'm not trying to brag. I don't make money off of TikTok. I just made this video because I get frustrated for other people, and it pisses me off that qualified candidates are applying and nobody's calling them back. I hear this within my own organization. I talk to candidates and they're so happy. They're like, oh my God, I'm so glad you called. I've applied with you guys for the last 2 years and nobody's ever called me. Meanwhile, this person has 20 years of experience. So I'm not making money off this. I just did this out of my pride in being a recruiter, and hopefully I can help somebody else. So let's go.
Yeah, so this goes back to tip number 1, which is to read job descriptions critically for clarity, and then mold your resume to suit that job opportunity. Now, I do understand that many people are actually applying for hundreds of positions every month, and that might be a little bit hard, but this recruiter nailed it on the head. Get your resume ready, mold it to the opportunity if you can. Don't talk too much about yourself, and then definitely focus on your experience. Your resume should be pro experience all the way, because a lot of these snap decisions for hiring is happening based on experience, not necessarily whether they liked you or not at your previous job. For someone who's been laid off several times before, it always came down to what do you bring to the table. There's no, companies are not going to be giving you 90 days anymore to ramp up to 100% because there's just such a huge candidate pool.
I'm really not excited to go back to another corporate position at this point. And the thing is, people keep rooting for me like, oh, you're going to find such a badass corporate job. But people don't realize that's not even what I want anymore. After sitting with myself after so many rejections, I'm like, why am I even chasing this in the first place? It almost makes me uncomfortable when people project that version of success onto me. I'm not unmotivated and I'm not giving up. I just don't feel right running back to something that drained me and then calling it a win.